And before we begin the conversation, I'd like us to see this report. The frequency of boat mishaps in Nigeria no doubt has become a source of concern to authorities. That's because of the country's extensive inland waterways and its significance for transportation, fishing and trade. In this report takes a look at community involvement in changing the narrative, which experts say plays a pivotal role in enhancing safety practices, regulations and enforcement. Let's see that.
Fatalities on the nation's inland waterways have become too many, despite federal government's efforts through the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy at tackling the challenge. The country has recorded about 7 boat mishaps in Rivers, Kwara, Kebbi, Taraba, Jigawa, Niger and Sokoto states in 2025, with more than 60 deaths. Consequently, from Kogi, Niger, Lagos, Bayelsa to Kwara, Benue, Taraba, as well as other coastal states, the ministry, through the National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, has taken government's multifaceted strategy of enforcing the Inland Waterways Transportation Regulation 2023, the conduct of public safety advocacy campaigns, and provision of essential equipment like life jackets to these states and beyond.
I want to appeal to the subnationals, the states, to see this as their responsibility. It's not really the entire responsibility of federal government. These citizens are your citizens. Make adequate provision for them, both on land and on the waterways.
90% of this boat mishap is caused by human errors. And in preventing this human error, we have provided trainings. We have sensitized more than 340 riverine villages in riverine states.
With lack of adherence to safety standards, especially non-wearing of life jackets, still on the increase, the role of communities in complementing government's efforts at reducing, if not totally preventing, boat mishaps is now even more imperative.
The people should go through their traditional rulers. You can train people from that community who will be able to communicate effectively with their local people. I think by so doing, people will understand and internalize the use of all these things. And the riders themselves will ensure that these boats are well maintained.
We continue to enlighten them on the danger of traveling on water without any protective jacket. You have to dissuade their mind to appreciate and accept all these efforts so that they know that it is no water spirit or it is no water god that is protecting them.
As relevant authorities continue to fashion out lasting solutions to incidents of boat mishaps, experts say deepening community-based awareness campaigns and the enforcement of safe boating practices are key. Chukunonsongwabweze, NTN News.
And Sokoto state government has confirmed the deaths of 4 passengers in the recent boat mishap that occurred at Kojio village, Goronyo local government area. The incident occurred along the Sokoto Rima River when the boat conveying the passengers capsized. That was on Saturday, 16th August 2025. The Sokoto state government confirms that 5 passengers have been declared missing, while 41 others were successfully rescued. This confirmation followed a thorough search and fact-finding exercise jointly carried out by the officials of the National Emergency Management Agency, the State Emergency Management Agency, and the Goronyo Local Government Council. Quite sad indeed. So let's begin the conversation. We have a guest, Mr. Olawale Adetola. He's the General Manager, Business Development from the National Inland Waterways Authority. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Adetola.
Thank you for having me.
You know, just reading out that report from Sokoto, very sad. And the advocacy has been on safety first. So let's get the reaction of NIWA towards the safety concerns and the whole boat mishaps we're seeing happening for a while now.
Thank you. First, let me express the authorities' condolence and sympathy to families of those missing in the recent boat mishap in Sokoto. And while you were reading out what happened. I saw our official, that is the area manager, Sokoto. He was part of the people that were helping. So it's our job, so it's not something we should be commented upon. But by and large, from what they are saying now, I'm looking at it that the fatality is decreasing. And one thing you have seen from the report is that most often the cause is human error. We will continue to sensitize, we will continue to enlighten. And like, to make it easier, we are doing a kind of corporate social responsibility by providing life jackets in most of this riverine area. We will continue to do that as fund permits us. And we'll still continue to sensitize and to enlighten. And also to enforce our safety regulation code. We have been doing sensitization all through last year, but this year we are going fully on enforcement because we believe we need to let them know these are what is expected of you so that there won't be any mishap on the water. This will continue to do.
Okay, Mr. Adetola, I like the fact you picked up the conversation for me on enforcement. There are water marshals who are supposed, to ensure these regulations are adhered to. And we hear reports of indiscipline, nonchalant attitude by boat operators and even passengers who are adamant to use these life jackets. Now, the reports you're getting, we're hearing allegedly that these marshals will be there and this, non-compliance to the regulations still persists. What is the report you're getting, and how are you addressing that?
Okay. The report we are getting is that most often, too, there are so many jetties along the waterways. Where we are doing our enforcement, all the water marshals and the officials of the authority, they ensure that nobody will board any water vessel without putting on the life jacket. And there was a recent case in point in the Niger State. It was a life jacket that was worn by the passengers that saved all of them when there was a boat mishap. So most often there are other unauthorized jetties. And most especially during market days, people will board vessels on all these unauthorized and unknown jetties. And that is why you see that sometimes when accidents happen and people die, is because there was nobody where they boarded to enforce the safety regulation we are talking about. But by and large, we intend to increase this. And there is another thing we are looking into, which we are working towards now, and that is the issue of Coast Guard, so that we will have as many people as possible patrolling our waterways and monitoring all the jetties, that nobody will sail from anywhere without putting on life jacket, and ensure that the vessel is not overloaded, and also they don't travel in the night.
Mr. Adetola, these people who are boat operators, who are passengers, majority are from communities, riverine communities around there, and yet we're seeing what is happening. We commend NIWA for the sensitization going on, but are you adopting other strategies to engage communities, especially stakeholders in these communities, to drive home localized sensitization?
Yes, we are doing that. Like the water washer we are talking about now, all of them were employed from the riverine community. They were not employed from headquarters. We went into the riverine communities and we picked people we knew can enforce this. And one thing we have been doing again too is, for some of these water marshal too, we are giving them training so that they will know how to do their job adequately. But presently, I won't say we have enough water marshal to man the riverine communities. So we are still looking into employing more based on availability of funds, so that they will be able to monitor all the jetties that we have in the country.
But you didn't tell me the part if you're engaging traditional rulers or religious leaders at the community level.
We do.
Okay.
We do. For all the sensitization we are doing, the first place we go to is to go to the traditional ruler. And most often, we even have the sensitization right in their palace. We go to community leaders too. We ask them for their view. We ask them for what they think we can do to reduce this accident on waterways. We are ready to collaborate with the state government, ready to collaborate with the local government, and also all other stakeholders. Like you are talking about flooding now, we are collaborating with NIMET, we are collaborating with Federal Ministry of Environment. So everybody that is involved in this matter, we are collaborating with all of them.
All right, Mr. Adetola, and our next report, that will be after the break, is actually going to be talking about interagency collaboration. So let's take a break. When we come back, we'll see that. The nation's waterways will be safer if communities cooperate and work closely with stakeholders by adhering to safety protocols. Jonathan Omajali, our correspondent, reports that this is the situation in Kogi, where the National Inland Waterways Authority is not only enforcing safety regulations, but also visiting riverine communities for sensitization engagements.
Boat accidents on Nigeria's waterways remain a major concern. Maritime experts attribute most of this mishap to human errors such as night travel, overloading, poor maintenance of old boats, and failure to comply with safety regulations. Community engagement has become crucial in tackling the challenge. In Kogi State, which has recorded several incidents in the past, stakeholders are working with local leaders through sensitization campaign and advocacy visits. Recently, the National Inland Waterways Authority visited Girinya community, where officials met with residents and traditional rulers who pledged to comply with safety guidelines, particularly the mandatory use of life jackets.
Preventing overcrowding and ensuring the competencies of the boat operators through licenses and trainings on the fundamental pillars of waterways safety is non-negotiable.
Today, they were all here to hear the sensitization and how to use water system. So my advice to them now is to abide by the rules and regulations guiding the transportation on water system.
In Lokoja, enforcement efforts have been intensified, with stakeholders ensuring strict adherence to safety measures.
We are forcing them to wear, and if you say you cannot wear our own, then you buy your own. Anytime you want to cross, you come with it. Without life jacket, we will not allow you to cross the boat.
With collective commitment, experts believe the nation's waterways, and Kogi in particular, will become much safer for travelers on waterways. In Lokoja, Jonathan Omajali, NTA News.
And in Niger State, the aftermath of the recent boat mishap has raised different questions on the operations and safety of, navigating the waterways in the state. Dauda Mohammed reports that the post-mortem of the incident has revealed the need to change approach to forestall reoccurrence and casualties.
Niger State, with the longest stretch of inland waterways in Nigeria, has always recorded high casualties whenever accidents occur, the most recent of which claimed 15 lives in Shiruru local government area of the state. Preliminary investigation indicate that the wooden boat hit a protruding tree stump, causing it to break. Only the 26 passengers wearing life jackets out of the 43 on board survived.
Finding shows that the major cause of this mishap was snacks and overloading.
But in fairness to the state, we've done a lot. So if you can also testify that the numbers have really dropped.
The National Inland Waterways Authority, Niger State Ministry of Transportation, and the National Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission on different occasions provided safety jackets and rescue boats to mitigate casualties. But cultural and religious factors have hindered the use in most cases.
You see, mostly our boat operators are doing it in their own traditional way, and they still have that traditional belief. I think there is a need for a paradigm shift from what they've been doing presently to what is supposed to be done.
And part of what we want to do is also to engage the traditional institution to also be part of the advocacy we're going to start doing.
Niger State, with its large expanse of waterways bordering 3 states, Kaduna, Kebbi and Kwara, as well as rivers Kaduna and Niger, stakeholders say ensuring safety can only be achieved with stringent enforcement of safety measures and deployment of fiberglass boats as against the predominantly wooden ones prone to breakage. Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
Mr. Adetola, I saw your reaction when you saw that overloaded boat. You know, it's just sad. It's not funny, it's just sad. And which brings me to this question. We're seeing the nonchalant attitudes and all of that. You're doing your own part. What really is the problem? Why is this still persistent? You know, when we're talking about persecution, enforcement, if there's no enforcement, there won't be persecution, right? Are people being persecuted for their actions? And are there penalties?
Yes.
Okay.
Based on what I just saw, in fact, I'm just perplexed. I don't know, with the sensitization, enlightenment, advocacy we have done, people can still enter any vessel without putting on life jacket. It's more or less they are going to commit suicide. And like we have said, what is causing most of this thing is human error. So what I would say, we will continue with our sensitization and we will be more stringent in our enforcement of the regulation codes, waterways transportation code. Because for all these infringements, there are penalties spelled out for each. The only thing I will say sometimes that happens is, for some of these vessels you are seeing, where they are taking off from, we don't have personnel to monitor what they do there. Because if we do, we will definitely stop them from sailing. And in some cases, you see the number of passengers, if there are too many, they may be able to overwhelm the water marshal that will be operating there. So whatever the water marshal might be telling them, they will ignore. But we will continue to look for ways, collaborating with other people, then getting more funds to engage as many as possible water marshals. And the Coast Guard we are talking about, if we are able to get that one to be on board, we will have so many people who will be enforcing this our waterway transportation code.
So, Mr. Adetola, what about the aspect of infrastructure? We saw the rickety nature of some of these boats. Some of them are unregistered. And the last time we had this conversation, we had a guest, an expert, and he decried the state of these boats that you can see on the screen. I know NIWA, sometime last year, was planning to phase out these wooden boats. So what's the update on that?
We are seriously working on that. There is this fund that was domiciled in NIMASA, let me just say, which we are looking into to be part of it so that we will phase out the wooden boat gradually. It's not something that can be done in a day. Yeah. And just like you said, we will need fund. What again we are trying to do again is to get private public partnership to be involved in this thing. We are advertising what people can do, the investment that they can have on the waterways. And we are inviting people who are ready to build jetties and places where vessels can load and unload. We are looking into it also. So we are expecting people who are interested in investing in the waterways to come. There are so many things that can be done on the waterways. And if everybody should come on board with the government, then most of what we are seeing will be reduced to the barest minimum. Not that we'll be able to stop it altogether, because human beings still be human that they are. They will still be doing that. Then another thing I will say is, we will continue on what somebody just said about paradigm shifts. Waterway transportation is good and is the cheapest. But for some people, they are afraid to be on water. So these are all the things we need to be doing so that we will have more people using the waterways and reduce the fatalities in case there is any boat mishaps.
So what is going on in the aspect of wooing international investors? You talked about the role of the private sector. You know, are you talking about the authority now, getting investors from the international community to come and invest, especially in advancing technology, to see how to checkmate some of these mishaps?
Yes.
Okay.
We are having people who are interested in investing in the waterways. The area we are talking about now is where I heavily involved, because I'm the general manager of business development.
Yeah, that's why I asked you that question.
Anything one, what we are doing is, for the paucity of funds we are complaining about, if there are public, whether international or national, or even state or local government, who are interested in helping us in some of these things we need to do, we are very ready. And we are welcoming anybody who is ready to collaborate with us so that we will let Nigerians benefit from the so many advantages that one can gain by waterway transportation.
What about the state, at the sub-national levels, talking about state governments, their involvement to support, very briefly, Mr. Adetola?
I think that one, we are having them from some states, not all states. And I will say all states should endeavor to collaborate with us. Just last week, we were in Baro, because the Niger state government, where the port is domiciled, they are bothered that the port has not been contributing its own part to the development of moving agricultural products from that place and moving other things to that place. And the major issue there is access road and connectivity.
Okay.
Railway too. So the two, everybody was on board for that trip. We were all there. The state government was there. Other people, the MD of Railway, everybody was on ground, and we have seen what is done. It's now for us to drive the actualization of what we saw.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Adetola. Let's hope that these regulations will breed enforcement and lives will be safe. Thank you very much for coming on Weekend File.